For more on this, Dr. Charles Oludare joins us from Texas, United States of America. Charles is the Convener Social Rehabilitation, Grace and Support Initiative. Hello, Dr. Charles, can you hear me?
Thanks. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Now, what are your main concerns about the way some online lending platforms are operating in Nigeria today?
Oh, thank you very much. It is just the usury that is what is my main concern. And you might be wondering why I'm involved in this, but it's just because I have also been a victim of these loan apps. And I was a secondary victim, because I was trying to help a few friends over a period of about 3 years, different people to pay off their loans. And then there was a particular one that happened not so long ago, whereby I tried to help someone pay up a loan. We actually contributed about a million naira, something like that. And then this loan just did not end. This person still needed money. So I started to look into it. And then I discovered that their practices is such a way that you cannot pay it. You cannot finish paying it. And let me give you a little bit of analysis of what I found out, right? So if you want to, this person wanted to borrow 120,000 naira, and within less than 3 months, over 30 million naira had gone through their bank account when I looked at it. So that is just like, wow, how did this happen from 120,000 to, over 30 million? So what I realized is that if you ask that you want to borrow money from these loan apps, they will market it to you at 0.01% interest rate, which you would think is good, right? But when you apply for, let's say, 100,000 naira, they take an account management fee of about 16.4% of the loan, a service fee of 16.4% of the loan, and then a payment fee of about 8.2% of the loan. So you ask for 100,000 naira, they pay you 59,000 naira, keeping 41,000. Now, if you ask for loan anywhere, you are supposed to get the amount of the loan and then you pay the interest on top of it, right? But these particular apps that I, looked into, that is what they are doing. And now, so you might think that is 41%, but it's not 41%. It is 41 over 59. That's how you calculate the interest that you paid within 7 days that you are required to pay it back. So that is 70%. But we all know that interest is not weekly, it is annual. So if you borrow that money and you finished paying it within 1 week, you had paid an annual percentage rate of that 70 multiplied by 52 weeks in a year, which is about 3,600% interest rate. There is no business in the world that I know of that you can invest money and make 36 times the amount of money that you invested within a year. Maybe never say never, but it is very rare. So this is part of the reason why Nigerians are unable to pay it off. And guess what they do? They will threaten you with defamation, and then while you are panicking, they'll give you, what I call a poison carrot, which is that, oh, come and borrow money from, this other app, or more money from us, so that you can pay it back. So now look at the, the trap, the hole that they have dug in the ground for you. If you borrowed money to pay back that money, for you to get 100,000 naira to pay them back, you need to be owing about 169,000 naira. That's about the math. So by the second week, you are now owing 169,000 naira, having paid off your loan. If you keep borrowing that money for 4 weeks, you will be owing 487,000 naira plus, even though you have paid that off the 59,000 that got into your hand initially. If you keep borrowing for another 8 weeks, you will be owing about 5 million, like 4.8 million. That is just the math. If you keep borrowing to pay it back for 3 weeks, that's about 33 million that you will be owing. So you can see the reason why Nigerians are getting into this hole and unable to get out of it, because of their practices. And I know that these guys are violating the laws, because, I did mention a series of fees that they collected. According to the CBN guide to charges, there is no charge that is more than 2%. Or according to the CBN laid down regulations. That is the first thing. And I know also for a fact that you can Google it. Akindele versus Merchant Bank was a case in 1995 that was decided where a judge said 48% interest, annual percentage rates, is illegal. Now compare 48% to 3,600 plus percent, right? So this is the problem, this is the trap that Nigerians have been, that has been set for Nigerians. And that is why it is causing a lot of, psychological trauma for people. And what people don't realize is that these guys are mostly operating outside the purview of the law. Otherwise, they will not be able to do all these things. So all these threats, like in the documentary you played in the beginning, whereby Ola had to run away from Abeokuta to come to Lagos State, she didn't have to do that because these guys are toothless bulldogs just trying to play on your psychology and play on the fact that you don't want to be defamed. That is their only weapon.
All right,
so
Dr. Charles.
That is why I have been advocating for Nigerians to push back.
All right, Dr. Charles, could you break down or give us a better, understanding on this cycle? Because it seems like these apps are putting customers in an endless cycle of debt. Now, what exactly is the point when, at the end of the day, some of them can't even pay? For example, the woman that was in the report, at the end of the day, ran to another state. She's not paying back that money. Someone owing around, making maybe 50,000, of course, is not going to be able to ever pay back that money. So in a business perspective, how much sense does this actually make?
It makes absolutely no sense at all. That is why we have to look at it from a different point of view. And I feel like Nigerians in general, we all have to see that these people are being cheated. They are being exploited. They are being taken advantage of. And the regulators who are supposed to defend them and prevent them from being cheated are, sleeping at the wheels. So it is impossible. And that is why this is their business model. Their business model is for you to keep on being indebted to them. That is why they employ a bunch of Nigerians. And I watched a podcast, I think it was I Said What I Said, where two of their former employees spoke about how they operate, right? These guys are hiding. They give them fictitious ID cards to go out. They don't, they don't let people know where they work. Even that guy even said there was a time that FCCPC came to close them down and they gave them laptops to go back home to keep on harassing Nigerians. And their pay is based off of, the money that they get back, because that is how these guys are making money. Imagine someone that gave you just 59,000 naira and within 3 months is making you owe 33 million naira. How do you want to pay that back? It is just impossible. And it is illegal. And guess what? That is why my advice to Nigerians is that we need to stop paying this loan. First off, that loan, you did not get the amount of money that you asked for. That is what most of them do. So that means they have not yet fulfilled the term of the contract of the loan. Because if you ask for 100,000 naira, you should get 100,000 naira. Nothing more, nothing less. So that's the first thing. Secondly, it is usurious. The percentage interest is just usurious. And we have anti-usury law in Nigerians. Thirdly, the defamation is illegal. And we have in Nigeria, I do not support this law, a criminal defamation law in Nigeria that has been, weaponized against people like Showore and Dele Farutimi to, deprive them of their liberty. But these loan apps, the people who work for them, they tend to go over the IGP, Kade Gbetokun's head, because I don't hear that these guys get arrested and prosecuted for defamation. And what these guys do is not plain defamation, it is defamation with harassment, which is actually criminal. There's also breach of privacy. They put your pictures out there, they harass you, send stuff to your family members and all. These are all illegal, and the regulators who are supposed to very be interested in protecting Nigerians from these exploitative behaviors, they are not doing enough. Because one of the things that I found out from my investigation and from what those guys on that podcast also said was that these are a bunch of Chinese nationals who have come to Nigeria to exploit Nigerians and put us in this misery. And we know that the regulators, it is their duty. They can also go on these apps like you and me in an investigative process, apply for loan. Once they get the loan, they know the details of the account that sent the loan. They can work with the CBN and other agencies to get them, to nip them at the bud, right? And they can keep on doing this till eternity until all these things stops and they see like, okay, well, they are no longer existing, but they are not doing it. They are not defending Nigerians. So we need to have pity on Nigerians and not blame Nigerians because they have been cheated and exploited and trapped.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Charles, for your contribution on this very serious issue. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.